Greetings all, Joe Lum here, with a brand new album rankings episode. I haven't done an album rankings episode in 6 months, but starting today and every Sunday you can expect a new album rankings episode. As always, when you're done watching this video, you can check out past album rankings episodes, as the playlist is in the description box. Remember to subscribe to my channel, smash the like button, and click on the notification bell, and when you see a new video, you can just check it out yourself. One of the videos I've done before a 6-month sabbatical from album rankings was a double feature. The first video was 10 of the most underrated albums of 1978. A redo of that episode is coming soon. But the second one is the focus of this album rankings video, and that's the 10 best rock and metal albums of 1993. I originally had the following: Candlebox at number 10, Brother Cane at number 9, Face the Heat from the Scorpions at number 8, Edge of Thorns from Sabotage at number 7, Stone Temple Pilots' Core at number 6, Nirvana's In Utero at number 5, Def Leppard's Retroactive at number 4, at number 3 was Aerosmith's Get a Grip, number 2 was Pearl Jam's Versus, and taking the top spot was Anthrax's Sound of White Noise. Now, I give you an updated version. Number 10, The Scorpions' Face the Heat. The German quintet's 12th studio effort and the follow-up to the successful Crazy World. While the album didn't reach gold status in the United States or in their home country of Germany, they managed to reach gold status in Norway, Switzerland, and France. The album reached number 24 on the Billboard 200 and number 4 in Germany. The songs that really stood out were Alien Nation, Under the Same Sun, Woman, No Pain, No Gain, and Lonely Nights. Not a bad follow-up to Crazy World, though. This would be the last album to feature longtime drummer Herman Rarebell. Number 9, Brother Cane's self-titled debut. This album is best known for songs Got No Shame, That Don't Satisfy Me, and Hard Act to Follow. The album reached number 14 on the Billboard's Top Heat Seekers chart after its May 10, 1993 release. This was the only album to feature bassist Glenn Maxey, but after he left, guitarist Roman Glick took over bass duties, while frontman, guitarist, and primary songwriter Damon Johnson re-recorded the song Hard Act to Follow on his 2010 solo effort release. They got a decent amount of airplay in 1993. Number 8, Candlebox's self-titled debut. This album is best known for the popular songs Change, You, and Far Behind. The latter two became the most requested videos on MTV. Even though released in July of 93, it wasn't until August of 94 when it entered the top 10 and would go 4 times platinum. The album was self-produced by the band and co-produced by a future Queensrÿche guitarist in Kelly Gray. The album was more into the Seattle grunge sound than the heavy rock that dominated the 80s, and it showed on this record. Number 7, Coverdale Page. It is the only album collaboration between Whitesnake's founder and frontman David Coverdale and the legendary Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page. The album reached number 5 on the US charts while going platinum, and number 4 on the UK charts while it achieved silver status. Best known songs were Shake My Tree, Pride and Joy, Take Me for a Little While, and Over Now. Expect an album review of this album later this year. Number 6, Sabotage, Edge of Thorns. This was the album that got me into Sabotage for a 3-year period, and the first of a trilogy. Edge of Thorns was released on April 6, 1993. Sadly, it would be the last for Chris Oliva, as he would die tragically 6 months later. Zachary Stevens made his debut on this album, singing lead vocals, replacing John Oliva, although he did write and produce songs for this record. All That I Bleed and Miles Away were the last songs that the Oliva brothers and Paul O'Neill wrote together, and that the 2 songs are John's favorite tracks from this record. I only like the record due to a title track, Edge of Thorns. Number 5, Core from Stone Temple Pilots. Even though the album was released on September 29th, 1992, it took Stone Temple Pilots 6 months before the song Plush became their major breakthrough hit. And then it went gold in April of 1993. The album made it all the way to number 3 on the Billboard 200, and as of this recording, Core went 8 times platinum. The other songs that really stood out besides Plush, were the lead single Sex Type Thing, Creep, and Wicked Garden. One of my favorite songs on that record anyway. Number 4, In Utero from Nirvana. The last studio album Nirvana ever put together. Released on September 21st, 1993. Known for singles Heart-Shaped Box, All Apologies, Rape Me, and Pennyroyal Tea. The album reached number 1 on the Billboard 200. This was not as good as their previous record, Nevermind, was. However, it managed to sell 6 million copies in the United States alone, and a total of 15 million the rest of the world. Sadly, Kurt Cobain would die on April 5th of 1994. Number 3, Anthrax, Sound of White Noise. I recently covered this a few weeks back on my album review series, but this is Anthrax's 6th studio record and one of their best efforts, in my opinion. It reached number 7 on the Billboard 200 after its May 25th, 1993 release, and went gold. Only Black Lodge, Room for One More, and High Pro Glow were all released as singles, and they were the only songs that stood out on this record. It's the first to feature John Bush from the band Armored Saint on lead vocals, and the last to feature longtime Axeman Dan Spitz. Number 2, Aerosmith with Get a Grip. This album, along with Pump, are tied for the second biggest selling album in the group's back catalog, behind Toys in the Attic, and became Aerosmith's best-selling album worldwide. 2 of its songs won Grammy Awards for Best Rock Performance by a Duo/Group. Those 2 were Living on the Edge and Crazy. The album also featured some real good tracks like Crying, Amazing, and Eat the Rich. This album was the first 2 Aerosmith albums to reach number 1 on the Billboard 200. And number 1, Verses from Pearl Jam. Following the success of 10, Pearl Jam went back to the studio to create their second record. The album nearly went platinum in its first week upon its release, selling approximately 950,378 copies, stayed on the top of the Billboard album charts for 5 consecutive weeks, and since then went 7 times platinum. Songs like Go, Daughter, Rearview Mirror, and Animal were all standout tracks for me. That's not a bad follow-up for the album 10, right? So here's a quick recap of the updated version of the 10 best hard rock metal albums of 1993. The reason I took Def Leppard's Retroactive out was it contained some B-sides and unreleased material during the Hysteria and Adrenalize sessions. But putting in the Coverdale Page record, hey, you can't tell me that Coverdale and Page from 1993 does not deserve to be on this list. Because it does. You got Jimmy fucking Page on guitars while David Coverdale sings the way he knew how. Expect a new album rankings video next week.